Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakwadash, that belongs to the Apostle Elders, great millstone, and some loose honest you brothers out there preaching his word, certain truth. Alright, come to you another lesson. Got this article here. Basically, actually, I should go to this one. Go to this one first. And this is from the Washington Post, right? Washington Times, lucky. It says Biden plan to hire 80,000 IRS agents will backfire, letting wealthy dodge taxes, expert warns. President Biden's proposed tax hikes and plans to hire more than 80,000 additional Internal Revenue Service agents could wind up helping the super wealthy to avoid paying their fair share, according to news analysts. And these 80,000 new hirees, agents, IRS agents, they're to basically to focus on you poor people, man, the poor, all right, which the majority of the poor people are the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and America is nothing but the rebirth of the Roman Empire. Okay. And I got an article on that as well. The first article I showed you. I'm gonna get into that. The new systems of tax hikes credits that Democrats are championing for 1.75 trillion social welfare climate bill would also complicate the tax code, make enforcement difficult, said a report Thursday at Libertarian Cato Institute. Alright. But basically Esau's coming down, man. Esau wants to squeeze you, man. Squeeze you you Israelites. Poor. Now you got poor Edomites too. Alright. But the Holy Bible is biased towards you Israelites. Alright. And Esau is coming down on you, man. He's gonna squeeze you. And also inflation, hyperinflation. Alright, so Esau wants to make a two-tier society. He wants to have the rich and he wants to have the poor. Because when the mark of the beast, MOTB, is rolled out, in Revelation 13, what did it say? It said rich and poor. Alright. The Democrats want to increase IRS enforcement to reduce tax gap, but their tax plan would increase tax code complexity, resulting in the opposite. He said tax code complexity increases tax avoidance and evasion by making IRS administration more difficult by promoting taxpayers to combine desperate provision in unexpected ways. And bloated tax code IRS bureaucracy only makes it easier for super wealthy to pursue avenues for tax avoidance. Prime example is the wealthy using loopholes and deductions to lower their overall tax burden, he said. Alright. So you know the super rich, they don't pay taxes. That tax thing is for the lower class. Alright, I got this one here. Community tax, that taxes and its role in the fall of Roman Empire. And I believe this new tax bill is like $700 billion. And it's not the tax bill. They got another bill they trying to push. It's like $700 billion. And it's supposed to decrease inflation. That's an oxymoron. Because the more fiat currency you print or add zeros to in the computer, is gonna devalue the currency. Thus is going to cause more. Thus is going to cause more inflation. All right. So let me read some of this. It said, what led to the fall of the great Roman Empire? To this day, historians still debate the cause, as Roman Empire's global superpower that spanned over the continents lasted 1,101 years. Deep-seated issue must have been simmering under the surface for centuries. Some attribute to the fall of a great empire to many things, which one is with contemporary ring to it. The Roman Empire deteriorated due to oppressive taxation. All right, and inflation is nothing but a tax. Okay, hyperinflation ain't nothing but a tax. Though perhaps not to the core issue, the greatest burden average citizens could easily have been the extreme tax burden. See, see, Roman totalitarianism was never popular among its people, but at the onset, it did provide peace and order. The empire sustained itself with wars to reap from war. Okay, that's why America's all over the planet Earth starting wars and shit. The plunder and looting of territories and enslavement of their own people allowed the empire to stay in power for over 1,000 years. Said, here we go. With no territories left to conquer, a policy was enacted debauching the currency to fill the gap between rising expenditures and falling revenues. Inflation was the inevitable result. That's what's happening now, man. Inflation. So that's how you can tell America's that Roman Empire second beast coming back again, man. And I'm gonna grab that. Let me read. I wanted to read this part. Let me read through this real quick. These tax reforms, these tax reforms of emperors in the 3rd century were so stringent that many people were driven to starvation and bankruptcy. That's what's happening now. And Biden just want to hire 80,000 more IRS agents to put more pressure on you. The Roman Empire's economy was such a state of turmoil that farmers abandoned their lands to receive public entitlements instead. It's a big problem going on in the farming industry, man. All right, Bill Gates buying up a whole lot of farmland. All right, putting a lot of farmers out of business. Okay. The inflation on the farming instruments and a whole lot of other shit, man. And the Lord is basically sending tempests through the farmlands too, man, destroying that. The government soon caught on, and farmers were legally required to continue working additional. Their next generation's cohorts to continue the same field of work. Let me read down. Tax collectors, let me read this. A downward spiral of oppressive tax enactments further isolated its people, and common sentiment was a hope that the barbarians would save them from the debilitating regime. Some citizens simply left altogether. It got to the point where parents sold their children to pay taxes rather than to be tortured due to non-payment. And those IRS agents, they're armed, man. Tax collectors would also face death penalty if they did not gather the required quota. The curtain fell on the Roman Empire in the 5th century. Citizens began starving in the wake of taxes. They began fleeing to outside the empire's reach and welcomed and aided the barbarians who would ultimately bring about the end of the Roman Empire. Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and it had 2 horns like a lamb. That gets to the Roman 2 political parties. All right, which back then were plebeians, patricians. Now it's the Democrats and Republicans. And he spake as a dragon. It had two horns like a lamb, and it spake as a dragon. You know, these parties, they got their own ideology to help the people. They come on TV and speak smooth words like a lamb. Very harmless. We want to help the people, blah blah blah. But they're basically speaking like a dragon. When them cameras turn off. Draconian measures. That's what happened in the Roman Empire as well. But this man is a serpent. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, talking about America, and causes the earth and them that which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. That's coming back, in the rebirth, the Renaissance, and then it gets to, Britain was a powerhouse, and America came out of Britain. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth that which dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live, and he had power to give life to the image of the beast. And that's, beast is the America's that, big part of the beast. The Roman Empire, NATO and the EU, that's a part of that beast. It is the beast. Okay? Which conglomerate is, that's like the Roman Empire system, man. Alright? And all this ideology, image going back, to the two horns, democracy. That's part of that image. His entertainment, his religion, pushing it all, his ideology. That's a part of that image, man. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not to worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads. It goes into the MOTB, and that's gonna that's in the last few seconds of his kingdom, man. And that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark on the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here's wisdom, let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for his number of man is number 666. Okay? So this man is coming down with great wrath. He's going to do it because what the scriptures say, Revelation 12:12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you. And that Esau, Edom, his whole system, alright, it's come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So in the last few seconds in his kingdom, man. So he's gonna go wild, man. Alright, he's gonna impose more and more tax. The inflation, that's another tax. It's just gonna get crazy, man, before this man's taken out. So that's pretty much all I got, Shalom.